Now, for myself as a commentator, vox pops aren't really my thing. I much prefer the comfort of a studio, a chair, air conditioning and excellent lighting. I'm a bit of a priss like that. I'm not really game enough to take to the streets and get the lowdown from the public. But my wonderful ADHTV colleague, Fred Pawle, most certainly is game enough, and he is here with me tonight in the studio to talk about the art of the vox pop, his adventures while vox popping, and most importantly, what the people are saying about the issues that affect them daily. Fred Pawle, I am so thrilled to have you here. Thank you so much for coming on the show.
Oh, thanks, Daisy. It's great to finally make it onto Kaleidoscope. It's great to be here. Thanks.
Well, it's great to have you. And I'm so interested to talk about the art of the vox pop because, like I said, it's not really something I've ever done a lot of. Now,
well, I've got to say, Daisy, I started doing vox pops. I've been in journalism for over 30 years now. I started at a country newspaper in the southwest of Western Australia. And in the first few weeks when I was working there, a controversy erupted that someone had appeared on a radio station and said that this particular town was not very friendly. And so I thought, oh, I'll do one of those vox pop things. And back then, just like I am doing now, I had my own camera, I was doing all my own photographs. And I hit the streets of this tiny little town and set up people friendly in this town, and everyone would go, oh yeah, we're friendly, and they'd walk off again. And the only person, this is the beauty of vox pops, because they are random, they're spontaneous, and they're totally unpredictable. The guy who made the most sense in that vox pop, I've never forgotten it. He'd just come out of a bakery, he just bought a vanilla slice, and the vanilla slice was smeared across his face. He was the town schizophrenic, and he'd just had his medication. So he was actually making a lot of sense. And he just said very eloquently and articulately, he said, yeah, it's a pretty friendly town, but some people are rude and some people are not. And we had this great conversation. I took his photo and off he went. So ever since then, I've been kind of intrigued by vox pops, and I'm very happy to be doing them again. The beauty of them now is that technology enables you to do TV vox pops, and it looks like you're just doing an audio thing. Like, I use my phone. I've got my phone on a stick.
Oh, wow.
I've got a great little microphone that's that is remotely attached to the phone, and I just hold it in front of people, and people don't realise, I mean, because it's so technologically, it's so simple, people don't stop and think, oh, hang on, I'm on TV now. Like, so it's kind of random, and it's very informal, but I love it. I love it.
Yeah, it is. It's fantastic. You can, as a reporter or a commentator, do it all yourself nowadays as well. It's so much easier with technology.
Yep.
And you host the Fred Pawle Show on ADHTV.
Yes.
Everyone watch it. It's a great show indeed.
Thank you.
And so you also do some terrific work behind the desk. But this year, you've decided to add more vox pop content to your show.
Yep.
What inspired you to make that decision?
Well, no one else is doing it, Daisy. I mean, seriously, it's a goldmine. It really is. Because, I mean, for example, one of the people I'm really inspired by, he's probably less than half my age. It's a guy called Will Witt from PragerU. He's very good at vox popping, and he's not the only one in the US. There's a bag of them in the US who are very good at it. I'm really inspired by them because they often, it's the spontaneous interactions that really work, and often they're funny. And you can't, you know, quite often with polished media professionals in a studio, as you know, your show is wonderful and you do it very well. But that spontaneity is something that appeals to me. And, you know, media professionals aren't, for all their other qualities, aren't known for spontaneity.
That is very true. There is this long manicuring process that goes through these shows. So, look, tell me, what do you like most about vox popping? Is it the spontaneity? Is it the variety? What tickles your fancy the most?
Well, it's a challenge. I mean, firstly, you're outdoors. It can get really hot, and, you know, it can get... I mean, Sydney's very humid. I mean, it only has to be in the high 20s, and you start to get perspirational, and, you know, things get quite uncomfortable. And the people you approach are uncomfortable as well. And then it can suddenly start raining. I mean, but, you know, it's just finding out what is really ticking people's boxes. I mean, today I was out talking to people about the High Court decision 3 months ago to release dangerous criminals who happen to also have once been refugees into the community. Now, it's actually a very complex topic, detailing a lot of technical legal concepts, and to get it down quickly as a question is a great challenge. Not everyone can do it. I'm happy to. I can happily say that I think I'm pretty good at it.
I'm sure you are.
But what I found today, Daisy, this is interesting, is that once you got that point across and said, look, the High Court has done this, but the High Court was backed into a corner. It didn't have any choice. The other side of it is that the government is letting you down, and these dangerous people are in the community. Not a single person I approached who was prepared to answer the question and be on tape said they felt sorry for the government. Everything about this issue is wrong, and that says to me that this has political cut-through. You only have to think about it then from a political perspective. The Liberal Party, the coalition, has some absolute gold that it could pluck if it took on this issue, and it's not. I mean, it's not really saying much about it. So you do get an insight into what issues have political cut-through. For example, earlier in the week, I asked people if they carry cash, and most people don't. And I said, well, OK, if you're conducting all your transactions via your phone or your card, are you worried that the government will one day start controlling your transactions? They'll say, oh, you've eaten too much meat this week, or you can't buy a flight to Paris next week or whatever. And they said, yeah, they probably will. And I said, well, are you worried about it? And they go, no.
Oh, my goodness.
Yeah. So I mean, these are the insights you get. I mean, people are worried about violent refugees in the community, but they're not worried about the government controlling their transactions. So, you know, it's a good way of finding out what matters out in viewer land, Daisy.
Yes, and what I think you've done there, you've revealed that Australians, yes, they're worried about violent detainees in the community, but as what I've said, Australians have a very toxic relationship with the state in that we sort of see them like they're our parents instead of, well, I mean, not us, but other people see them. They see them as like a parental figure instead of just a necessary evil that happens to be there because this is the best of all the bad ideas humanity's come up with.
That's another issue I did. I walked around the streets of Sydney and I would stand next to some bollards. Bollards are absolutely everywhere across Australia at the moment. And I said, what do you think of these bollards? I mean, why do you think they're here? And some people didn't even know they were there. I mean, so, you know, they're subconsciously going, oh, bollards, whatever, maybe there's a car going to come through, you know, I don't care, you know, as long as I'm safe, I'll be all right. I mean, the reason I was asking the question was, well, why put the bollards there? If there's danger in our community, we should remove the danger, not protect us from the danger. That's the point. And again, I couldn't get anyone to actually agree with that point. I feel very strongly about it.
Yeah, that's very interesting. We've actually got a clip of that day where you went and asked about the bollards. Let's have a look at this answer that you got.
Well, I want you to tell me why you think we need those things these days.
I'm not too sure. For children to jump on, so cars don't go through them.
Are they protecting you from anything in particular?
Oh no, I'm going to be shamed by my family. I don't know. Is there an obvious answer?
Well, they're appearing everywhere these days, especially where crowds gather, and it's to protect us against terrorist acts.
Against what?
Acts of terrorism.
Right. How are they doing that?
Well, in France and in Europe, terrorists drive cars into crowds. Have you heard that?
Yes, I have heard of that.
And there's a potential of that happening here in Australia, you think?
I would say unlikely, but always a potential, I suppose.
All right. Look, I wouldn't want to single that girl out as an example of a bad vox pop. I think it's actually a good vox pop. And I really appreciated her honesty.
Yeah.
I mean, I'm grateful to anyone who answers my questions in front of the camera. So, you know, kudos to that young lady. And, you know, she's young. She's at an age where she doesn't have to worry about terrorism. I mean, you know, she's at the footy, she's having fun. So I wouldn't want viewers to think that I am being condescending towards her. I just appreciate her honesty. And everyone is honest in their own way. So, you know, good on her. I mean, but really, people should be. if I can be bossy just for once, people should be worried about the reasons why there's bollards everywhere these days.
Yes, I agree. I mean, I found her, again, not at all a bad vox pop, a fascinating vox pop and a sort of a good pie test into the mind of a young person who's not sort of worried about those things.
Yeah.
No, I agree. I thought she was great.
Yeah.
But sometimes, Fred, people are a little bit mean to you when you are out vox popping. We do have a clip where someone was mean to you. Let's take a little look at that one.
You'll be one of like 5 people I asked this question to. So, sure. Are you sick of the Palestinian protests going through Sydney every weekend?
Oh my God, fuck off.
Again, Daisy, I don't belittle that guy's response. No. It's an honest response. That's what vox pops are about. So, you know, good on him for being cutting straight to the point. You know, he should be worried, I think, because the protests about Gaza have been going on way too long. They're very disruptive. If you do watch my show, you'll find out that there are some people who think that those protests have been going on for too long. So, yeah.
That was fun. Look, that was about the most honest answer a person could possibly give is F off. So, yes, you could not be more honest than that.
Yeah.
Fred, Paul, this has been such a delight. Just quickly before you go, tell the viewers when your show is on and what they should watch out for on next week's episode.
Well, I don't have a regular show anymore. I have a new format for this show. I used to be twice a week at 8 o'clock on Mondays and Tuesdays, I think it was. But these days, I'm like a lot of modern media. I just produce shows and put them up on the website, on my page on the website, whenever I've finished them. My next topic next week, my big topic next week, is going to be immigration and China, and possibly I'm going to talk to some people about Brazil, which is a bit of a sleeping issue at the moment and should alarm a lot of us. But if people want to know when my shows come up, just follow me on Twitter at Fred, Pawle.
Fantastic. Please, yes, everyone follow Fred Pawle on Twitter and do check out his show. It's a fantastic show. He does absolutely terrific work. Fred, you're wonderful. This has been great fun. I do hope we get you back on the program very, very soon.
Love to. Thanks, Daisy.